Welcome to Mortgage on My Mind, where we take the mystery out of mortgages and make dreams of home ownership a reality. I'm Natalie Salins, a top 1% mortgage broker with 20 years of experience, based right here in sunny Los Angeles. If you've ever wondered about pre-approvals, appraisals, or what loan product is right for you, don't worry, I've got Mortgage on My Mind, so you don't have to. Each week, I'll bring you expert advice, real-life stories, and insider tips to help you navigate California's competitive real estate market with confidence. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or just curious about how it all works, this podcast is for you. So let's talk mortgages, demystify the process, and make your real estate goals a reality. Ready to get started? Let's dive in. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mortgage on My Mind. I'm Natalie Salins, your host. And today we have with us the fantastic Robbyn Battles. Robbyn is based in California, has been in the business over 30 years. She began assisting her parents in real estate at age 13 and later took over their operations. She holds a certification as a senior real estate specialist and as a luxury home marketing specialist. And in 2022, she was ranked among top 1% of agents in the US, which is amazing. And she also served as commissioner on the LA County Tax Appeals Board. So she was appointed by the Supervisor's office. It's pretty amazing. So great to have you on. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for asking me.
Yes, absolutely. So I would love to understand really quickly,
Okay.
what does it mean that you served as a commissioner?
Okay. It was for about a year, so you have to be invited by your district supervisor. So mine was Supervisor Barger, which is very well known right about now. She's absolutely wonderful because I have such a history with the supervisor's office and then other committees that I've served on. I did one of their aging commissions at one point because a lot of my clientele is seniors and boomers. So that's the bulk of my clientele, and served on town council for 7 years and president, and just have done a lot of community things. I was asked to do that. And it's honestly, it's very boring. Because you
Really?
sit in, so you know when people go and they want to appeal the value on their home, and they're like, and you hear, just fill out
Oh,
this
yeah.
form, and the assessors has valued you at X, but you're really valued at Y. I would hear those appeals. And it
Oh
would
my
be
God.
anything from airplane hangars for United Airlines to single family homes. And a lot of the times these meetings, they'll get extended and extended. So the county is really behind on hearing these appeals. It took up a lot of time. And
Yeah.
so I ultimately stepped down from the position just because it was very, very time consuming. But the amount of knowledge from serving as commissioner, it's one of the very few paid positions that you serve on. Most of them are volunteer, and it's not a huge amount of money. So I didn't do it for the money. I really did it because it's just another end of real estate that you get to understand. And
Sure.
your appeal that you do to lower your property taxes is not one and done on a form. It's just for those listening that want to do that. It's a process. It's a
And you do
process.
it because you think obviously, because you think the values have gone down and you think you're paying too much,
People will
right?
file an appeal, and it could be from huge apartment buildings. I heard one that it wasn't that big. It was a 13-unit apartment building. And when he didn't get the complete assessed value that he thought it was, he files that appeal and says, I disagree with you. You should have done X. And then it's just like a hearing.
Right.
And then we get to decide, yes, you deserve to have the value declined, or you can have a little bit more, or you can have none, and it's totally denied.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was, but like I said, it takes a lot of time. Some of the hearings can go on for months. And you're in, and you don't know what they're doing in the back room as far as between the appraiser and then the complainant.
Sure.
And so you don't know. So by the time you get online and hear them, you could be sitting there for 3 hours waiting just for this case to come up. So
Wow.
it was a lot of time, but it was a great learning experience. But then I was like, okay, I've got so many other things going on. and so much real estate to sell. I just didn't do it for much longer.
Sure. How do you think it changed and informed you as a real estate agent? Like what parts of it helped you in your
Um,
business and career?
I think that it gave me insight into how appraisers actually look at things, not like the appraiser that comes to your house when you sell your house.
Right.
It gave me a much more in-depth look at what they're actually looking at and the process that they're going through to show why they feel values are where they are and how they evaluate things for the future. So
Mhm.
it's like sitting down and reading a really good book. You just gain more from it. And I think that did. And of course, it's also the connections that you get in doing that. And then,
Sure.
and let's be honest, it's a great title. It
Yeah.
got me business because people are like, oh, she knows about taxes.
She's a
So,
commissioner. Yeah.
and you learn about how they calculate and it's just another, to me, it's just, okay, that's just another piece of information I can use at some point to help a client. That's
Yeah.
how I look at everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. So
Yeah.
cool. So cool.
Yeah.
So being in this business nearly 40 years, which is
Yes.
amazing, and watching the shifts of the market and the shifts of generations, all of it.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of experience is that? How do you think that it lends to help support your clients? And what have you seen? What do you think has been the biggest shift you've ever seen? Obviously, I have a few questions.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'll break it down. It's you never stop. And feel like I keep saying this, but you never stop learning things. And
Every
because
day.
just when you think I've got this deal down, I know this inside and out, and then boom, something comes out of left field and gets you.
Totally.
The experience and one of my pet peeves is when agents try and tout them. I've got tons of experience, or I'm 20 years or whatever many years in the business. I'm like, but just because you've been around doesn't mean you've experienced everything.
For
And
sure. And
what do
things
you
are changing and shifting all the time.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah.
what have you done to learn more? Because there's agents in our company that are 5 years in and they're phenomenal. And with social media, what that's done, and you'll see agents like myself that have been in business all these years, and they're like, I'm just gonna write the contract. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please just
Yeah.
come on.
Would you
I
say that's what I would imagine that is a massive shift, is the beginning of
yeah.
social media.
Technology and social media I think, are some of the biggest shifts. And every day you get up and it's still changing. And so I watched the younger group, and I'm like, I'm chasing you. You're not going to get defined at knowing things better for a new technology than I am. Like, I want to be in the
Yeah.
race.
Uh,
I'm in the back. I'm super competitive. I love the thrill of the kill. I want to be with the client. I don't want to be in the back room. I want to be with the client. So every skill, every ounce of information I can get to be in front of that client and handle those clients, that's what I love the most.
yeah. Do you think clients have changed? You think people and their mindset about buying, or the difficulty of getting people to jump in, do you think that's shifted from when you did this 25 years ago to
Well,
now?
yes and no. No, because the widget is the widget. You want to buy a house, you want to sell a house, the widget's the widget, right?
Yeah.
But how you get information now compared to before is so different. So I'll tell you a quick story to go from 13 years old to just had my birthday yesterday, and it's yeah.
Congrats. I'm
So we're
not going to
celebrating
ask
all week.
you.
It's so different. And when I was 13, I would sit in the office and I would flip the 3-ring binder and put the little pictures in the 3-ring binders. And it
Yeah,
was like, oh, the new listings are coming out this week. Robbyn, where's our binders? And now it's, if you print something and deliver it to your partner next door, you're ancient.
totally.
So just the speed of knowing information. And then the book came out, which is so funny because now there's a company that's bringing the book back. Ooh, we've got the book. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, come on, they were
I like
doorstops at
holding the
some point.
paper when I go into open houses and like seeing
Oh
the
gosh, you're one of
picture.
those? Stop.
I am old school when it comes to paper and holding things. I'm the
Really?
same way. Yeah. I like when I view somebody's tax returns and I'm used to having it
Okay,
and doing
that's
the
a little
calculate,
different. Yeah, that's a little different.
like
Yeah.
I'm just like a hands-on, very visual person in that way. Yeah.
I get that part. I'm one of those where it's like as agents, you're going to brokers open, you need a brochure. I'm like, really? You
Yeah.
could, isn't it here and there? It's just
Yeah.
so
And
that
you're
part
right.
of
When I get
me,
in my car after, I fold it and I throw it away.
yeah. It's funny, I cannot tell you the last time I handed somebody a business card. That's just how different I feel things have gotten to where
Yeah.
I still sit down and I won't lie, I still sit down in a presentation and I'm all about the paper. I will bring the comps, I will lay the stuff out. I'm very old school in that regard, but it's very different for me because I've watched agents present and I've listened to and I hear them on the phone and sometimes I'm cringing. I'm like, why did you say that? Because I think with this shift from being 13 and flipping through books to literally sitting across from my mom as you could talk to me, I could have somebody on the phone, somebody next to me, and I could understand all of those conversations at one time. And that's because my mom sat across from me and fed me what to say on the phone to new clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I learned. And so that is an experience I think is hard for anyone to get right now, to just have that.
That
I
kind of
think if you,
experience.
even if
Yeah.
you mentored somebody, if you could just sit and have that mentor tell you what to say and you could say, I think that would help agents get more successful quicker. Because I think most of agents' hurdles are they don't know what to say and they don't know how to say it and they don't know
Mhm.
how to shut up and listen. I think those are three skills that are really hard in this business. So I had that ability. And then my parents went into building houses. So I have the background of construction. So I used to sell the houses they would build. I used to read blueprints and walk construction sites. And so I have a really well-rounded background. So fast forward, now I'm love digital, love social media. I'm not as big on social media as I look at some people with their thousands and thousands of followers. That's not me. I'm very specific on what I post and how I post. I do some old school marketing where I'm still mailers, but that works for my community and that works for me. And people call and like, I love this part of this letter and I love this and I love how you told this story. And it's just something that resonates, especially
But
with
you
go ahead.
market more towards boomers anyway. So do
Yeah,
you find that they
it
want the flyers in the mail or they are,
They okay, so this is the thing is that they're like when you say I like to touch it, I like to feel it. They like to
yeah.
touch it, they like to feel it. They like their social media. They'll still go on, they'll Google you, they'll Facebook you, they'll do all of that. And I work with a lot of the kids of the parents as well. So you have to target both audiences. And I find that it naturally shifted my business to working more with the boomers and the seniors because I also had a nonprofit for seniors that I started. So I just got engaged in that. And it's great clientele to work with because I'll sit and listen to your stories.
Yeah.
I love really putting their plan together. I love all of that. And I don't need the immediate listing. It's like I'm building my pipeline could go on for years. There's of the people I've met in the last couple of months, there's already 12 listings waiting for me next year. They're just not ready now. But it's the stories, the conversations, the how you put it together. And then, agents, they say, trust me, I've done this. And they use that in their marketing. And it's just a word that I just don't ever use because I think that's something that this clientele, especially, you have to earn it. You can't go in like the hot shot, hey ho, this is the deal. It's sit down and tell me what you're thinking about. And then you just listen and they will take you down the path and some get there quicker than others. I love that. I think that's being with the client and helping the client. And then when you do that, their family appreciates you. It's just like your business just blossoms from that.
Sure. And as far as because you have such a history of selling longtime family homes kind of thing
Yeah.
from the parents and the children. And so where would you say you start when you've had clients that have lived in a home for decades? What does that mean as far as getting a listing going in that way?
That's okay. That's a great question because every single person is different. And if you ever want to know, like, the starting point, because everyone's starting point is different. So I started this series that I don't do just sold cards. It's called Anatomy of a Sold. And I tell the story of how each listing started and the process and how it ended. And so I actually have clients that call me and say, "You said you started this off market, or you said they did a rent back, or they clue into the thing that is
Oh,
bothering
yeah.
them." Yeah, so it's a trigger for them to go,
Specifics.
"Oh, I was just like that." And so I'll tell you a quick story about I just wrote about them and I changed their names to protect the innocent, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I get a call the other day and I've been getting this letter and we're not sure what we want to do. We don't know if we should, we're getting old, we're having health issues. We don't know if we should go to a retirement home. We don't know if we should move to Arizona. We don't know if we should get inside help. We just don't know. And he says, "But I just think we need to get ready to sell the house." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "So how does it sound?" I said, "How about I'll come down. We'll talk about value of your house. Let's talk about your different options." And so the minute I got to the door, it was, "Let me see the house." And they tell you all the stories and all the great things about their house. And I'm like, "Why don't we just sit down and talk about?" And then he calls his wife in. And we literally talked about, and they were on totally opposite sides. She's, "I am dying in this house." I'm like, "You knew I was coming." And she did, you know. But she was like, "I'm not going. I'm not in good health. I'm not going to be here in 2 years." And you just sit and you listen to that dynamic. So I look at her and I said, "So you don't want to leave your house. He wants to leave the house. But if something happens to both of you between selling the house and going into some assisted living that's close by," she goes, "I'm not going to convalescent hospital." And I said, "I don't want you to go to convalescent hospital, just
Sure.
some assistance." So I said, "Would you like me to get some assisted living, some different options for you? Because I have resources to all of that." And she starts to come around a little bit as she's sitting there now with a fractured arm because she had a fall in her house.
Oh, no.
So she can't, so she's bandaged up from that. And I said, "What if we kept you local and just you went down to this that kind of has the different age, like you go in fine, and then if something happens, you can move through the facility, so to speak." And she says, "Yeah." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "You don't need to be in a convalescent home. That's crazy talk." And he says, "We've got family in Arizona." I said, "Okay, well, tell me what that looks like." So it's just this open dialogue of what their options are. So it lasted about an hour. And so when I left, I said, "Okay, I'm going to email you the people on things I think you need to do to your house," that he was totally open to doing. I said, "I think that you're not ready to do this right now. I think you should." We're talking roof and AC. So I've emailed all of that to them. I said, "Okay, now the next email is going to be some suggestions on places I think you should go visit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gather some things in Arizona. If you can't have your perfect situation with your son-in-law, that you could live nearby in some kind of assisted facility." I said, "And it's cheaper in Arizona than it is here." And that's just how that conversation, they're similar to that. And then
Right.
some of them are just, "I have so much junk. What do I do?" And they don't want to pack it or they're embarrassed of their home. So you just walk them through it and you just keep throwing options to see what something you say is ultimately going to stick with them. And then you just go from there to set the pace for them. But if you go in there, "No, you need to sign," if you walk in and you've got this clientele and you're trying to get them to sign a contract, ooh, you're going to be banished from the kingdom. It's just not
Yeah.
the way you do it.
What would you say is the average timeline for people who are looking? Is it longer, obviously, than people who have only been
Um,
in a home
it
5 years?
it really depends because if it's clients where it's their parents have passed. That timeline goes a little bit faster depending on how much work needs to be done to the house, what's cleaned out. Are they in a trust? Are they not in a trust? What do we have to do on the back end to get it ready? Those are typically start from initial meeting to becoming a listing and going on the market. They're probably 3, 4 months. This gentleman I'm talking about, he's probably late next year. He'll probably be ready to put his house on the market. And then you get the people that call and say, I've had it, I'm done, I'm ready, I've been doing it all on my own, come sell my house for me.
Right.
So they're all over, but they all come with little nuances of this gentleman
We're
the
all
other
people.
day.
Yeah.
I don't want a sign in my front yard. I don't want a lockbox. I don't, because I think the biggest thing is you have to understand that everything around them is their security. So
Yeah.
the other thing is if you walk into this clientele and start saying, you gotta get rid of all those doilies and dishes, it's like saying you have an ugly baby. You just,
Yeah.
you might say that behind closed doors, but you don't say that to their
Do you
face.
set an expectation though that people who are going to come in and want to buy are probably going to want to renovate? And because there's a large renovation fee in a house that hasn't been done, pricing it lower because it simply isn't going to be like the house next door, which is more updated?
So I have strategies for them. So I'll share a couple of those strategies. One is I call them grandma houses. I explained to a client yesterday what I consider grandma house. A grandma house is a house that's never been updated, but it's been meticulously maintained. My favorite house, hands down, to sell because they haven't done some crazy wonky addition because Uncle Joe was a contractor and they thought this looked good sideways.
Yeah.
It's just original good bones. And so I play off of the orange and yellow wallpaper and we'll pull out some shag carpet or I'll call the stager
Sure.
in to cover up the brown. There's not
But
one,
there's
you
charm
can't
in
get,
it too.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just play off of it. It's old. Okay, cool. So this was the thing. It's avocado green. Okay, cool. What goes with green? Make it, just spruce it up.
Right.
It tells a better story and it's a
True.
lot of fun to sell. It doesn't, they think because they see all of these articles that all of us realtors put out, paint everything white, paint all the wood white, you put in the staging. You
No,
can
but I just mean,
stage, yeah.
I mean the fact that it won't sell for as much as the next door house that is renovated.
Oh, okay, so
Do
that's
you
all in
set that
presentation is like,
expectation a little
yeah,
bit?
oh, yeah, yeah, you always have to set that because
Yeah.
they're sitting, I met with a guy yesterday and my neighbor's house just sold for 1.5. And I said, did you see your neighbor's house? Yeah, they had this beautiful kitchen. I said, have you looked at your floors? And I said, you've got asbestos tiles on your floors. He goes, these are asbestos? I said, yeah. You don't want to rip those up. That's a health hazard. And I said,
Right.
so you're already setting the tone, like let's bring you into reality. And then you have to, and then that's where old school way, you're throwing out the comps with the pictures and you're saying, because you don't want to put them on a screen and start scrolling on your iPad or something. You throw them some paper and just say, now look at this house, now look at their living room, look at your living room. So you're
Mhm.
totally bringing them into reality. You never say if your house is old because they will say it, or it's not updated, they will say it. And so you don't have to beat them that it's an older house. But yeah, you have to
Right.
accommodate. This is what someone's going to do. And I think you asked me the question, what do you do when to set the expectation when buyers are coming through? And I like my clients not to be around when a showing's going on because it's going to hurt their feelings. They're going to feel insulted and you can't control what a buyer is going to say and they just don't need to hear it. So we find a way for them to be gone because they also want to chit chat with everybody. And I'm like, no, because you're going to sell the goats and we don't want to sell the goat. You can't be here. So
Right.
we have that whole conversation. We talk about how we're going to show, we set all of that up.
Totally. It's awesome. So then one last question.
Sure.
D- How would you say your blog and network play a role in your business and how, yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, so I am a huge fan of you've got to layer things. If you think of it this way, if you're going to take the time to write a blog, then you need to make sure that blog is everywhere. So it has to be on your website. It has to be, you have to put it in whatever you're talking about. If you're going to do something on social media, you've got to, it's like if you're going to spend X amount of time, then make sure it's everywhere. So I do a lot of blogs about a lot of topics, and I'm hot on housing and density housing right now because it's a big subject going on in our community right now. And so I don't get political ever. I don't think it's a good look, and I don't make commentary on online. It's just, especially with my clientele, it's a big no. Nobody needs to hear from you. They just don't. One
Mhm.
more voice is not going to change the world. But I make sure that the blog is there. I make sure that it's very balanced. And it also helps, look, it helps in your Google rankings. It helps you become more aware when people are just searching randomly. I'm a huge fan of ChatGPT. Love AI, love it. But if you're just going to do one thing, then you shouldn't do it all at all. You have to just put it, you got to be talking about it in your cards, talking about it on your social media talk.
Right.
Then it explodes everywhere.
What would you say is the main topic that you talk about?
I alternate. I have 5 topics that I like to talk about. I don't always talk real estate. I don't talk about how many deals I've sold. I don't talk about how much money I've made or, oh, I sold over. That's not my tone. I talk about the story behind the sold. I do market updates once a month. I do an overall real estate thing. I talk a lot about seniors. I talk a lot about community, tons of community stuff. Like I said, now there's a huge shift on density housing and housing shortage. And is there really a housing shortage? If there's a big event going on in the community, I'm talking about it. And I rotate it. If I find something that's really interesting, like there was something that came up today that talked about how they're going to renovate where the 710 freeway was going to go through to down to Long Beach. So now they took all those houses, they never did the freeway, they're selling all those houses. How are they going to make that right for the people that lost their houses? And I'm thinking, how are you going to do that? You took their house and never built the freeway. So now they've
Right.
got this huge swath of land they're going to redevelop. So that'll be a big thing that I'll talk about. Sadly, the Altadena fire, there's
Sure.
a lot of stuff going on with that, but I'm very careful with how I talk about it because I think that you have to respect these people just lost everything. You can't go in there and say, oh, we've got so many developers to buy your land. No, read the room,
Especially Altadena. Yeah.
especially Altadena. And now I think Palisades, after yesterday's news conference, that's
I
I'll mention it,
know.
but I'm like, that was not a good look yesterday.
I
So
know.
yeah, but
So
I will tell,
unfortunate.
I follow, I'm up at 4 in the morning. And from 4 to 5 in the morning, I'm reading all kinds of topics. I have a Google keyword and I am reading everything that comes in on that. So I'm very well versed in housing bills, senior housing, what's happening locally, what project is, I'm up on all
Yeah.
of that. Yeah. So I can have that conversation with builders or homeowners or whatever. So yeah, stay informed, read stuff. Don't just
Yeah.
talk about yourself.
Very true. I know.
How's that?
I am on social media because I need to be and it's important to
Yeah.
be. But it is hard for me. I don't love doing all the videos and the this and the that. It's really I like working and reading tax returns and figuring out problems and structuring files. That's like my thing, not
But lenders need to be in front of the camera.
now it's if you're not, then people won't know you as well, or people want to research you and want to see.
And it doesn't have to be this big production. It could just be, this is something that happened today that I think you should know about. And I just want to tell you, it could be something that
It
quick.
is, and that's basically what I do. I
Yeah.
give
I don't
I
get the
bet you
little
didn't know that you
skits.
can do this. I bet this just happened and it doesn't have to. And like it's always about loans and
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't have to be, the little things that are like whatever's trending, I'm not trendable.
yeah,
In that way, if I'm gonna sit down and do something, it's I always want to provide some kind of value for somebody. That's
exactly.
me. It's not everybody, but it works for me.
To me, it feels like that's why they would go on to listen to me. Like I have my camera is doing something so weird, but I have
I know, I'm like, whoa, you're zooming in and out,
I'm
huh?
not I didn't touch a thing. It's
I'm like,
so
don't touch
weird.
the buttons.
It totally pulled me out just then.
Yeah, I
Like
know, wasn't that weird?
that was so weird. Anyways,
You're getting hacked, you
technology.
don't know it.
Technology, I have no idea what's going on.
I know.
Yeah, to me, my coach and things are like, why don't you talk about yourself? And why don't you talk about what you enjoy? And I'm like, I don't want to. I have a blog and I talk about videos to help clients and help buyers
Yeah.
and inform them. That's why I'm on and speaking. It's not,
But I bring a little bit of life. It's
you
because I
know,
do so much of this and that. And it's like when I bring, oh, Dasher's left the building.
oh,
But like when I talk about Dasher and I put a picture of Dasher up, everyone's, oh my God, there's Dasher. Or I go to North Carolina and I'm not allowed to post pictures of my little 3-year-old Great Niece. But when I'm in North Carolina, I'm talking about stuff. And I try and do a balance of here's all this other stuff, and now here's a little bit more about me. So people do I do the first paragraph of my monthly letter that I religiously send out is always about what I've been doing and what's happening. And then I
mhm.
go it and people like to know that you're human and know just that little bit about you. And it's I think just that tell the story and be authentic and people really enjoy that. I'm just not the used car salesman. Let's do the deal. Let's do the deal. And I got you covered. And I'm like, no, you don't. That's not it. But it
Yeah,
works for people and there are clients that are attracted to that. It's not me.
yeah,
You
totally.
know.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else you need to know?
I know, right? I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your expertise and who you
Ah,
are as a person. I really felt like we have a great understanding of that. Um,
nice.
and thank you for
What's your
joining us.
favorite? What made you do a podcast?
So a lot of people had told me that there aren't a ton of podcasts about mortgages, and I have been in it for such a long time, and I tend to be quite the teacher with things, and I'm very patient with teaching my clients and helping them to understand what mortgages are and how they work and what the
Yeah.
process is and everything. And so for a while I was told to do it and I was like, I don't really have time with my busy schedule and such. But then I was on a podcast with somebody and then a group of people asked if I would like to start one.
Nice.
And
Nice.
I thought I would,
So
yeah.
I have a question for you. So when you are dealing with your clients and the agents are involved, what is the number one thing that you wish agents understood when with their
Working
clients?
with the clients or working with the lender.
Just what do you wish agents did or understood better? Because I feel agents get in the way a lot of times and
There's a
there
few
is
things. So,
yeah.
number one, communication. Please let me know what's happening through the process. And whenever anything goes askew, a lot of the time it's because I haven't been informed on like things on the property or credits or problems with even though we don't want to see a request for repairs. Please let me know. I'm the one that decides what my underwriter
Yeah.
knows. But I
Yeah.
like to know all those things because I need to understand what's happening with that before it gets anywhere else. So
Just stop putting
communication.
everything in an amendment before you talk to the lender.
Exactly.
Yeah, like talk to everybody before you go. Everyone's so quick to go to escrow, let's do an amendment. And well, hold on a second. The way that's worded could have big consequences to financing. So I'm not saying hide something, but there is a way that things need to be done.
Exactly, exactly. Or
Yeah,
do it on a form that I might not see. There are ways to get things
there
done
are ways.
specifically.
Yeah.
But I would also say that's what comes with working with a seasoned agent because there are things about properties that
Yeah.
are not going to fly with a lender that if you aren't seasoned, you aren't going to know. Just recently, there was a property that was zoned agriculture. And it was zoned agriculture only because it was over an acre. And so it was zoned agriculture. And a lot of lenders won't take that type of zoning.
Yeah.
And it was a specialty type of loan. It was a non-QM loan. It was a bank statement. So there was it went to a special investor, and those type of special investors don't have standard guidelines like Fannie and Freddie. And the agricultural zoning, which I didn't know was there until we had got the prelim in and the underwriter reviewed it, and then the appraisal came in, and the appraisal
Right.
it was agriculture. It's things like that that a lot of my agents
Yeah.
who are more seasoned, they would come to me immediately up front and be like, it's zoned agriculture, just so you know, it's a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I can be like, awesome, these are the two
You know
investors that
who
do that.
fails to do that though? Is it's not the buyer's agent, it's the listing agent. Because when you're listing a property that's wonky, that's a technical
Yeah,
term, wonky, a wonky property, but
totally.
that like we have a lot of stuff that it's half county and half city because of the
Right.
borders are all of intertwined up here. And I almost put that as a listing agent because I'm trying to think, okay, what could my problem be with this property? And so I think it really, the listing agent should be reaching out to lenders saying, am I gonna have an issue with this? Do I
Love
need to
it.
work with a certain lender on this? And I think that a lot of listing agents, newer listing agents, fail to understand that's part of their job. It's not to just, oh, I'm taking the listing, because you need to set your client up for what could happen. And if they know it
Totally.
and it doesn't happen, they're like, you're the rock star. If it happens, you're still the rock star because you said this could happen. And they know,
Right.
and then they're just the hero because they're like rolling with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Also, there's something that came up today, and I was so thankful that we actually had figured it out before, but I have a refinance going, and the appraiser went out and the client has two ADUs. That doesn't
Ah,
fly with Fannie and Freddie. So you can have a duplex with an ADU. You can have a single family with an ADU, but you can't have
right.
a single family with two ADUs.
That's interesting because they're pushing, here I go with all of my reading. You've got all this SB9 and all these duplexes and lot splits and all of this stuff. And the financing isn't keeping up with what the state is allowing you to do.
They're very slow to update Freddie and Fannie. We finally are
Yeah.
allowed to use income from an ADU. They didn't let us. In Fannie and Freddie's eyes,
Yeah.
an ADU is a glorified guest house. That's it.
So we had this conversation the other day. We were talking about all these ADUs and everyone's, oh yeah, everyone's doing ADUs. And I said, if you go back 20 years, you had a listing that had a garage conversion, you were like, oh my God, the garage is conversion. The lender's never going to fund on this. And now it's, we don't care. There's no garage. We don't care.
No, it's true. We there
It's
and
so
we don't
different.
even I funded on a house that had no utilities on. We
Yeah.
don't even care about that anymore. We used to have an
Yeah.
HVAC system. We used to have heating. We used to have all
You had to have
utilities.
a stove. And now they're like, we don't care if there's no stove
We
in
don't even
there.
need the stove. We don't need utilities on. I've
Yeah.
closed on a house that had no electricity on.
Yeah.
There's all different ways to get around it, but on the ADUs, it's tough. And
Yeah.
we specifically worked through it. Thank God
Yeah.
the buyer agent at the time was like, hey, Nat,
Yeah.
there's three stoves. There's one downstairs, one upstairs, and one. Is that going to be okay? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that you knew this to come to me beforehand
Yeah.
because no,
Yeah.
it's not going to be okay.
It's not okay.
It's
Because
not
everybody
okay
thinks,
to have
okay,
three
it's
stoves.
permitted, it's okay, but it doesn't, you still have
Doesn't
guidelines to meet.
exactly because
Yeah.
Fannie and Freddie still don't believe that you're allowed to have a split gas line. And so they don't like two stoves with two running gas lines in one property.
Yeah.
So because of that, we had
Right.
oven removed, gas capped, and put a garbage can in front of it. And
Yes. Yes.
the
Because when
appraiser
you
went
used to have a
out.
guest,
Yeah,
you
the
used to have
appraiser
a
went
guest
out.
house,
He
that's what you
took
did.
pictures. We were totally fine. It was known as like a studio space with a kitchenette, but no stove. We closed the
Right.
loan. There was no problem at all. What we're
Isn't
doing,
it funny how the stove is the big deal? If you get rid of the stove, I don't know what the whole stove thing is all about, but that was the big deal. If
the
you had a
gas
guest
line.
house, couldn't
It's the
have a
gas
stove.
line. It's the gas line.
It's the gas line. But
Correct.
see, they're trying to get rid of all your gas lines, so pretty soon that won't be an issue.
It might not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but that's what they're talking about. I don't know. It's just little things in my head that I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun stuff, fun times all the time. Always something new to learn. This has been
Always,
fun.
every day, no matter how much you
Yeah.
think every day, you're like, what? When did what?
And I'll tell you something, when I look at agents, I'm like, I had no idea. They're like, how can you not know something after so long? I'm like, it's always something. There's always
Always,
something new.
yeah,
And now there's legislation that's changing everything. It's like the balconies for condos now. How are we doing that?
for
Where are you
sure.
filing the report? It's just new technical stuffs that you have to stay up with as well, and technology. And
Yes.
but it's a great business, and you know what? You should have more fun in this business. People are way too serious. Like, I'm serious with my clients, but just take a breath for a moment. I wish I would have done that a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard because it's very stressful at the same time. So sometimes it's tough to just take a breath and be like, oh, it's fun all the
It is,
time.
but I think when I say that, it's like, who's making it stressful? Like, are
I
we making it
lots of people.
stressful, or is it's like you just 6 o'clock yesterday morning, I had a phone call. I have buyer's remorse. I can't do this. And I'm like, man, buddy, it's my birthday. And you're calling me at 6 in the morning telling me you got buyer's remorse. And I'm like, what are you gonna? And I was like, okay, I'll just, when escrow opens, I'll call and cancel the deal. It didn't get canceled. He totally,
Yeah,
it all flipped. And I'm like, what are you gonna do? Good thing I'm an early bird.
yeah,
It's all
totally.
good. Just take a breath,
Exactly.
breathe a little bit.
I
Yeah,
tell
and
people
have
that
some
all the
fun.
time. I know it's stressful. Let's take a breath.
Oh,
It's gonna be okay.
yeah. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thank you. Thank
Sure,
you.
sure. Good
Mm.
luck with everything. And at some
Thank
point,
you.
we're going to connect in person and hopefully do a deal one of these days.
Thanks for listening to Mortgage on My Mind. If you're ready to start your mortgage journey or have any questions, I'd love to help. With 20 years of experience, I make the process as simple and stress-free as possible. Check the show notes for my contact info, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast. Until next time, I'm Natalie Salins, here to help make your real estate dreams a reality.